The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. When John the Baptist heard in prison about the deeds of the Christ, he sent word by his disciples, who said to Jesus, "Are you the one who is to come, or are we to wait for another?" Jesus answered them, "Go and tell John what you hear and see. The blind receive their sight, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the poor have good news brought to them. And blessed is anyone who takes no offense at me." As they went away, Jesus began to speak to the crowds about John. "What did you go out into the wilderness to look at? A reed shaken by the wind? What then did you go out to see? Someone dressed in soft robes? Look, those who wear soft robes are in royal palaces. What then did you go out to see? A prophet? Yes, I tell you, and more than a prophet. This is the one about whom it is written, 'See, I am sending my messenger ahead of you, who will prepare your way before you.' Truly I tell you, among those born of women, no one has arisen greater than John the Baptist. Yet the least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Today, we continue in our preaching series. Christmas is coming. What are you hoping for? As faithful disciples reaching out to all, we strive to achieve real hope, which is most important and akin to our Christian faith. We need real hope because we have not yet achieved all that God has in mind for us. Christmas is a season of hope. In our series, we are looking at what it means to have, to maintain, and to live with hope. Father John opened this series by reflecting that Advent is a time for conversion, renewal, and hope. He explained that real hope is not wishful thinking, but rather it is based in reality and in Jesus. With all of the challenges in this world, our sense of hope can become diminished and even disappear. Christian hope is positive thinking, which engages the heart and the mind. Hope has many obstacles, with the worst being despair or the absence of hope. Despair sees only gloom and misery ahead, which can engulf our desire, erode our confidence, and keep us from achieving effective and productive lives as disciples. We are all on our journey to the kingdom. And while despair would lead us to believe that the kingdom is unattainable, hope encourages us to know that although we are not there yet, we are confident that we will achieve our place at the heavenly banquet. Advent is the perfect time to rekindle that hope, which requires desire, action, confidence, and commitment that we will achieve all that God has planned for us. Last week, Father Pedro spoke about how hope requires courage to create harmony in our lives. Advent and Christmas give us the opportunity to seek this harmony, thus building our endurance to live with this courage to have real hope as Christian faithful disciples. Father Pedro invited us to spend time with the Word of God and to fall in love with the Scriptures. Today is the third Sunday of Advent, or Gaudete Sunday, meaning rejoice in hope. This week, we will look at how hope requires waiting with joyful patience for Christmas and for God's plan for our lives to be revealed. Patience is the primary topic of our second reading today, and St. James offers us some practical, straightforward wisdom on living a Christian life of hope. Be patient, brothers and sisters, until the coming of the Lord. As I was reading that verse, one of my favorite Christmas movies came to mind. Y'all may have heard of the movie Elf with Will Ferrell, who plays Buddy. And Buddy grew up in the North Pole. He comes down to New York, and he goes into the mall where they're setting up their Christmas display, and he hears that Santa is coming. And he gets all excited. He starts jumping. Santa is coming! Santa is coming! What joyful hope. Patience is a virtue. It's held in high esteem. And it is a key element in achieving hope. We require patience to experience God's presence in our lives. And if we get caught up in the normal rush of everyday life, we will miss out on God's beauty. Patience involves peacefully accepting delay. So the other day I was driving home from work, and of course all of y'all know what traffic is like in London at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And yet again, somebody cuts me off and then decides to go 20 kilometers an hour. Well, peacefully, I'm trying to think about my homily and remain calm and choosing what I should say or what I should not say. Peacefully accepting delay. Remaining calm through disappointment and difficulty. I experienced that during my illness, and I'm sure many of us can experience where we need to remain calm during illness or during mourning or during some suffering. Not getting annoyed with distractions or situations that we have no control over, like walking through an airport and waiting to board an airplane. Or not getting angry with difficult relationships. And once again, I'm certain that the majority of us can attest to having some difficult relationships in our lives. To wait with joyful patience means that we may be challenged to endure difficulty and adversity, to look beyond what is directly in front of us, and trust with Christian hope that God's plan is greater than what we can imagine in the darkness of our valley. Patience also involves timing. Sometimes we may feel that our timing for things is best. Yet, our timing is not always well placed. We must trust in God's timing because his timing is always perfect. See how the farmer waits for the precious fruit of the earth, being patient with it until it receives the early and the late rains? You too must be patient. This verse reminded me of a news clip that I saw recently. Some farmers at a Washington University grew a new apple. They called it Cosmic Crisp. And the heading says it's a new crossbreed of apple with a sweet and crisp taste that experts say can stay fresh for up to a year in the refrigerator. It took them 23 years to grow this from a seed to an apple. During Advent, we too are in a state of waiting, with joyful patience for our conversion to produce that good fruit. And this kind of patience will lead us to and require prayer. To have patience is challenging, and this waiting can prove difficult. In order to assist us, we can join together as a community of faithful disciples seeking strength from one another. We may find that joining a small group like our Mosaic groups is a place for us to find this strength. Or perhaps in any of the many activities that we offer here at St. George, such as Roman Roadhouse this week. You are also invited and encouraged to participate in our monthly holy hours. And this Thursday, we will have our holy hour after the evening Mass. It is the perfect time during this Lent and in the busyness of the season to seek guidance and to patience and rest before the Blessed Sacrament. Certainly, we cannot neglect attending Mass regularly to receive Jesus in the Eucharist, or take part in many opportunities to celebrate the sacrament of reconciliation before Christmas and the birth of the Messiah. Do not complain about one another. Complaining is the expression of impatience and dissatisfaction, and it is the enemy of patience. It is unattractive and largely unproductive. It'll never fix, improve, change, or make anything better. Complaining drains our energy, whereas patience increases it. Complaining tears people down, while patience encourages and builds people up. Complaining robs us of joy, whilst patience cultivates joy. Joyful hope is the fruit of patience. During this Advent, may we catch ourselves when we are tempted to complain and instead perhaps think of something encouraging and uplifting. As we continue in our Mass, may we, as faithful disciples reaching out to all, make it our goal this Advent to strive to live free of complaint and with a deep sense of joyful patience and courage, look to the future with real hope.